Fahrenheit 451, Erasing Memory to Control the Future, Decoding Dystopia. Welcome back. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is Decoding Dystopia, Literature as Prophecy, a series that reveals the terrifying precision of dystopian fiction, not as fantasy, but as strategic forecasting. These aren't just cautionary tales, they're manuals, written decades in advance, mapping the mechanisms of engineered obedience, psychological warfare, and social collapse. Today's installment centers on Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, a work most recognize as anti-censorship, but few grasp as a model of mass behavioral engineering. At the center of Bradbury's world lies a haunting truth. You don't need to ban knowledge if you can make people stop caring about it. You don't have to burn history if you can bury it under distraction. You don't need force when you can seduce the mind into sedation. In this 4,000-word breakdown, we'll decode the real layers of Bradbury's message: memory as power, silence as rebellion, speed as sedation, and entertainment as obedience. Each motif in the novel is already functional in today's world, though camouflaged under convenience, innovation, and personalization. From algorithmic forgetting to emotional censorship, predictive policing to pleasure-based compliance, Fahrenheit 451 is no longer speculative fiction. It's a mirror, and we're in it. 1. The Firemen of the Future. Arson as Authority. Bradbury opens with a disorienting inversion: firemen who start fires. Guy Montag isn't a savior, he's a state enforcer, a burner of books. But Bradbury doesn't frame book burning as evil in isolation. The real horror is that the people no longer want books. It wasn't censorship that started the fire, it was apathy. Montag's world is filled with citizens who voluntarily reject complexity. Over decades, the public traded poetry for slogans, philosophy for sitcoms, and critical thought for consensus. By the time the firemen come in, the people are already passive. The state simply formalized the ritual of forgetting. Today, the firemen wear different uniforms. They are algorithms, moderation bots, and trend curators. They don't burn with flames, they curate with silence. When a book is not recommended, it may as well be incinerated. When a topic is shadow banned, it disappears from public awareness. When old truths are rebranded as outdated or offensive, the result is the same. History is erased, without smoke. Just as Montag once relished his role in cleansing society of dangerous ideas, modern agents of suppression often believe they are protecting mental health, social harmony, or public safety. But protection becomes prison when truth is the casualty. 2. The Seashells. Sound as Suppression. Mildred, Montag's wife, is a prototype of the modern citizen, emotionally anesthetized, cognitively fragmented, and spiritually hollow. She spends her days in front of interactive television walls, speaking to scripted characters she considers family. She sleeps with seashells in her ears, tiny speakers whispering constant noise directly into her brain. Bradbury's prediction was surgically precise. Today, we walk through the world with AirPods in, notifications buzzing, feeds streaming. We wear our own seashells, often 24/7. The difference? We think it's normal. Noise is no longer background, it's the baseline. And in that noise, reflection dies. When you are never alone with your thoughts, you never form convictions that diverge from the stream. Bradbury warned that real censorship wouldn't come through prohibition, but through saturation. Drown the citizen in sound, and they'll never hear their own soul. This is the tyranny of stimulation. Our modern world is not oppressed by silence, it's obliterated by noise. Entertainment becomes anesthesia. Comfort becomes control. And the citizen, pacified by personalized playlists and algorithmically optimized content, loses the ability to discern manipulation from meaning. 3. Speed as System. The Worship of Motion. One of the most quietly chilling details in Fahrenheit 451 is the elimination of slowness. Pedestrians are criminalized. Conversations are short. Roads are designed for reckless speeds. Even thinking is seen as suspicious unless it's fast, reactive, and easy. Bradbury understood something we often ignore. Speed is a tool of oppression. When a society moves fast enough, there is no time for depth, no time to mourn, no time to remember, no time to rebel. This is the world we live in now. We measure value in productivity metrics. Content is compressed into 15-second reels. Opinions are formed from headlines. Reading becomes skimming. Reflection is deferred endlessly in the name of efficiency. The acceleration of thought is not neutral. It's engineered. Speed favors the dominant narrative. It privileges the present moment. It erases history, context, and nuance. A moving mind cannot dig. And if it cannot dig, it cannot remember. Bradbury's society punished stillness because stillness is where consciousness blooms. It's where dissent begins. It's where truth sneaks in, like a whisper between the waves. 4. Education as Amnesia. The Disintegration of Thought. Bradbury doesn't just focus on what people consume, he shows how they're trained. Schools in Fahrenheit 451 don't teach comprehension, they enforce obedience. Children are flooded with facts, but they're stripped of meaning. Curiosity is pathologized. Emotional depth is destabilizing. This is not fiction. Modern education has become test-driven, emotionally flat, and ideologically steered. Students are taught to pass, not to think. Complex discussions are deemed unsafe. Opposing views are reframed as harm. Depth is sacrificed on the altar of productivity and equity. Bradbury shows that education isn't just about what's included, but what's excluded, what's silenced, what's rebranded. And today, many classrooms have already become factories of forgetfulness, producing students who can cite facts, repeat frameworks, and never dare to question the sacred scripts of modernity. In this way, Fahrenheit 451 offers not a warning, but a reflection. We've already surrendered the past. The question is, will we choose to reclaim it? 5. Emotional censorship, feeling as a threat. In Fahrenheit 451, emotional numbness is not a side effect. It's the design goal. Real feeling is destabilizing. Grief, love, longing, discomfort. These experiences spark introspection, creativity, and revolt. So the system pathologizes feeling. Anyone who expresses depth is seen as mentally ill or dangerously unstable. Montag's awakening begins when he finally allows himself to feel. After a woman chooses to die with her books, he is emotionally unraveled. But instead of being supported, he's told to forget. You mustn't think too much, Captain Beatty says. It'll drive you mad. Bradbury was not simply criticizing censorship. He was exposing a future where emotion is edited, where people are taught to self-regulate feelings in the name of wellness and social stability. Today, that's reality. Emotional expression is increasingly mediated by algorithms. AI now detects emotional risk in content. Social platforms flag posts based on sentiment scores, and children are taught to regulate rather than process. Even therapy, in its most industrialized form, has been reduced to mood tracking and medication. The deeper emotional work, trauma exploration, existential questioning, moral grief, is often excluded or pathologized. In a society where feeling is danger, numbness becomes safety. But safety without soul is slavery. 6. The mechanical hound, surveillance and predictive punishment. The mechanical hound is one of Bradbury's most prophetic inventions. A synthetic enforcer that tracks emotional imbalance, preempts rebellion, and chemically paralyzes its targets. It doesn't think. It doesn't judge. It simply executes. Efficiently, emotionlessly. This is not metaphor. Today's predictive policing technologies analyze biometric signals, sentiment, facial expressions, online behavior, and social connections to determine who might disrupt the peace. Surveillance isn't retroactive, it's anticipatory. Social media platforms scan for hate, fear, danger, and radicalization, often using opaque AI that doesn't differentiate between curiosity and violence, dissent and disruption. The modern hound doesn't need a snout. It just needs your search history. Bradbury's genius lies in showing how surveillance doesn't just track behavior, it shapes it. Knowing that you are always watched makes you self-censor. You begin to shape your inner world to match the expected template. The hound doesn't have to kill you, it just has to train you to kill your own curiosity. 7. The book people, carriers of consciousness. At the end of the novel, Montag escapes the city and finds a group of rebels, the book people. Each one has memorized a book. They don't carry it, they are it. They become vessels of memory, walking archives, keepers of the soul of civilization. This is Bradbury's closing message. When information becomes dangerous, humans must become memory. Culture must be carried not in files or screens, but in bodies and hearts. The revolution isn't digital, it's incarnated. Today, we live in a world of fragile data. Cloud storage can be deleted. Digital libraries can be edited. AI can rewrite your memories without you knowing it. But what you carry inside you, what you have wrestled with, internalized, lived, that cannot be taken from you. The book people are not just a resistance. They are a template. For teachers, for rebels, for thinkers, for artists, for parents, for you. We must once again become people who carry meaning in our marrow, who remember what the system is designed to erase, who speak what cannot be spoken in 280 characters, who risk being misunderstood to keep the truth alive. 8. Entertainment as exile, the pleasure prison. Bradbury's world doesn't sedate through pain, it sedates through pleasure. The parlor walls, the relatives, the soap opera-like programs, this is not escapism, it's exile, a permanent dislocation from reality. This anticipates the rise of immersive tech, virtual reality, personalized content feeds, real-time sentiment tracking, digital twins, and gamified social media. These technologies offer the illusion of connection and identity, but they often replace human depth with emotional simulation. When entertainment becomes the default state of consciousness, awareness disappears. No one in Fahrenheit 451 is forced to watch the parlor walls. They want to. They're addicted. The state doesn't have to enforce compliance. It builds systems people never want to leave. This is the modern attention trap. People aren't rejecting freedom. They're forgetting what it feels like. Bradbury warns, a society that cannot tolerate silence will never hear its own enslavement. 9. The hollow citizen, deconstructing the modern mind. In the character of Mildred, we see the prototype of the post-human self. She is disconnected from her body, divorced from introspection, emotionally dependent on synthetic interaction, and filled with cultural scripts instead of lived experience. Her suicide attempt isn't tragic. It's logical. She doesn't know who she is. Her life is so fragmented, so overstimulated, so devoid of memory and meaning, that death becomes indistinguishable from sleep. This is not just Bradbury's fiction, it's today's crisis. Rates of existential depression, identity confusion, and self-harm are rising. Not because people are inherently broken, but because the system they're raised in has cut their roots. When a human has no history, no silence, no community, no inner anchor, they become programmable. They respond to culture like software responds to code. And whoever controls the code controls the citizen. Bradbury foresaw that the future wouldn't require fascism, just frictionless control, noise without nuance, speed without story, comfort without meaning. 10. Ending the cycle, reclaiming soul. Through memory. What, then, is the antidote? Bradbury's answer isn't guns, marches, or revolutions. It's remembering. Deep, slow, embodied, courageous remembering. Remember the books that changed you. Remember the history they want you to call irrelevant. Remember the quiet moments where truth landed like lightning. Remember the questions you were told not to ask. Remember how to sit with yourself. In a world engineered to make you forget, memory is rebellion. Not just intellectual memory, but soul memory. Your body holds wisdom older than the algorithm. Your dreams are messages unfiltered by metrics. Your discomfort is data. Your grief is guidance. Your silence is sacred. The war is not between state and citizen. It's between soul and system. And every moment you remember who you are, you win. Fahrenheit 451 is not a warning about the future. It's an instruction manual for the present. Bradbury was not afraid of censorship. He was afraid of our willing participation in it. He knew we would not be forced into forgetting. We would choose it. Out of fear, out of fatigue, out of habit. And so, the task now is simple, but not easy. Burn the lies. Reclaim the pages. Archive the truth. Feel again. Remember everything. Because when you carry memory, no fire can touch you. Hi, I'm Adeline Atlas, 11x published author, and what you just watched was only a taste of what's inside the Truth series, where we go all the way down the rabbit hole. If you're the kind of person who's always asking bigger questions, who knows there's more to this world than what we've been told, then this is your invitation to the series that was built for you. Inside the Truth series, you'll get full access to 6 mind-blowing sub-series designed to wake up your highest intelligence and decode the matrix we live in. 1. Locate the truth. Learn how to actually research, not just what to search, but how to verify, cross-reference, read declassified files, and protect your own mind from weaponized misinformation. This is truth-seeking, decoded. 2. The Mandela effect. Are we shifting timelines? Why do so many people remember a different past? We break down the most bizarre, undeniable examples of reality glitches and what they tell us about consciousness and control. 3. Law is magic. Law is not what you think it is. From word spells to maritime law and hidden contracts, we uncover how legal systems use language like a wand and how to stop being tricked by fine print that binds you without consent. 4. Entertainment or ritual. The Hollywood and music industries are not just for entertainment. From Super Bowl rituals to Grammy stage symbolism, we decode what's really being shown, who it serves, and why mass consciousness is the target. 5. Decoding dystopia. Ever wondered why dystopian fiction feels prophetic? In this subseries, we decode popular films and books, Hunger Games, 1984, Black Mirror, to reveal the hidden blueprints and predictive programming behind the plot. 6. MK Ultra plus mind control programs. This one gets deep. From real MK Ultra documents to modern symbolism in media, we expose how mind control operates in plain sight and how to free yourself from manipulation you didn't even know was happening. And that's just the beginning. If this resonated with you, click the links below and join us inside the Full Truth series, because the more you know, the harder you are to control. This is your awakening. We don't just ask questions, we find answers. Let's go all the way down the rabbit hole together.